Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining us for this Just Justice Periscope with Rosemary Roe. This is Melissa Sweet, public health journalist from Croaky Blog. We're sitting in a cafe in beautiful Fremantle, and Rosemary is going to share some of her experiences and knowledge around the Croaky Just Justice project, which is all about looking at the health impacts of the over-incarceration of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and also looking at what are some of the solutions. How do we stop that, and how do we particularly harness the lived experience and knowledge of community members? So thank you very much, Rosemary. Would you like to begin with an acknowledgement of where we are?
Yes, thank you, Melissa. First, we're in Perth, so I'd like to acknowledge the Yamatji people whose land we are on today in Perth City, and acknowledge the custodians, the traditional owners, past, present, and the future. Yeah. So.
And could you tell us a little bit about who you are and your story?
Yeah, as Melissa mentioned, Rosemary Roe. I'm born in Carnarvon, a Yamatji lady. We've now since found out we've relos up in Broome and Shark Bay. Oh, I knew that Shark Bay all the time, but yeah. So Yamatji, Yaru in Broome, and I think Mulgana in the Shark Bay area. That's on Dad's side. Dad was third generation John Septimus Roe's ancestor. So he was one of the first surveyor generals of WA. So we've got still got the Roe surname. Mum's side, she's second generation stolen generation. So it's been a journey trying to find connection to country where her mother was taken away. But up until now, we've got historical connection to the Leonora area after sort of oral history going through to Port Hedland and Roban. There wasn't much documentation back in the late 1800s, so it's been a journey. I'm a single parent as well, who returned to higher education, attending the UTS in Sydney in 2007 to 2009, graduating in Bachelor of Adult Education. So I became interested in writing Mum's autobiography, and so I went back and did some extra studies. Came back to WA, and it's just been flat out, with the political side, and I promised I'd never get back into the political arena, but searching your family is taking you back to history, and you've got to know your past to be able to move on in your future. And it's important for our kids and that too, generations, that we learn that and share it and pass it on. Yeah.
We can talk a little bit in a moment more about why history matters when it comes to understanding over-incarceration, but I just wanted to let you know that on Periscope there's this technique that when people are watching and they're enjoying what they're seeing or agreeing with what you're saying, they tap the screen and it sends some hearts, and I just wanted to let you know people have been sending in some hearts for you. So
lovely.
Nice,
thank you very much. Yeah.
So Rosemary, could you tell us a little bit about how your own personal and family story links in with the theme of over-incarceration, what your lived experience is of the criminal justice system, and also reflecting upon what we can all learn from that, in terms of how to prevent more people being locked up?
Yeah, well, even up until now, I'm sort of well over middle-aged now.
Looking good, I have to say. You're a good advertisement.
But okay, so Mum being stolen generation, to me, finding out that she was incarcerated as a young child, so that's gonna, because we're doing autobiography, that's gonna come out in the book as well. She's still alive, and she has sort of wrote her biography, isn't it? When it's from the first person, is it?
Autobiography when she's done it, and biography when you're doing it.
Autobiography. Yeah. So I look at my own family and I see that.
So the stolen generations history is setting the scene for incarceration.
Yeah, well, they were taken. Her mum was taken as a 7-year-old, like I say, from the Leonora area, and then mum's in the institution, the Moore River Native Settlement. So, and then she goes to high school when in Bunbury Senior High School when education became open to Aboriginal kids. So it was in 1954 that she becomes a teacher. So she's one of the first 5 Aboriginal teachers in WA. But so she marries my dad, and then there was a good family unit happening there, and so we were lucky to have mother and father, and both working. This is in the 50s and 60s and through the 70s. Mum only retired 2003, but we were lucky because, and then you get like all my nieces and nephews now that in their 30s and late 30s that are stuck in the justice system, criminal justice system. So you go back and the timeline, and in 1997 I had my nephew that suicided in a small remote town, well, not so remote, but the town of Carnarvon, and it's still impacting on us today. So this group of our 30-year-olds are stuck in that system. They're still maybe grieving, well, I think they are, but in a different way, and they just can't. They're in and out of the court system, and the older brother's in prison still. Another nephew's in prison. There's a bit of mental health, and it just places stress on us, my sister and I, who are the next elders, and we're only in our 50s. And I just sort of, the lived experience of just my immediate family, I can see, what it must be happening all throughout our, Indigenous families, majority, in different levels. So
you're really highlighting trauma so closely interwoven with the over-incarceration issue, that the traumatic burden that so many Aboriginal people and families bear, and that leads into people intersecting with the criminal justice system, which then creates more trauma as well.
Yeah.
And I know you have a lot of responsibility placed on you as a result, caring for people in the system.
Yeah, and you speak up for your family, and then all of a sudden you're being targeted. And that's been just the normal thing. But it's getting worse. So, with the men, it used to be mostly the men in jail now, and then the youth. But now, just recently, it's a lot of the females. So, and we have a role in our family unit to try and nurture and look after our kids and our men and boys, and well, that's in my immediate group.
So that's affecting the next generation.
Yeah, and I have children of my own, so it can impact on their lives as well. So the stolen generation has a huge impact. And when you're learning about it and what went on back then, it's just to see. Even Dad, he got chucked out of school in grade 3 or something. So out in the stations. So this education side of things need a big shake up too.
So what would you like to say, to people in government and so on? What can they do, to try and prevent people being locked up? Or what would help, when you think of your family, to stop people being locked up, or when they get out, to stop them being locked up again, to help them re-establish and get on with their lives?
We'll probably start listening to the elders that are still around, the ones that are older than us for a start, because they've had more lived experience. A lot of them don't like to share it because it's so painful, or they're scared they might get in trouble or something. But you know, and we should get on well with everyone, each other sort of thing, because we have to live together in this country. But personally for me, I think the WA government need to stop, pause. You know, acts of genocide did happen throughout, and it's documented. There's a lot of people that have documented and are still, you know, doing stuff. Education, the more people know about what's happening, and I think the wider community are starting to come to, you know, learn about the true history of Australia.
So acknowledging that history is really important for helping people to heal and maybe move away from the criminal justice system.
Yeah, and like I can only do so much for my family, and like through Mum's autobiography, then I'll do Dad's.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll heal my immediate family. So each family's got a bit of a responsibility to, and that's in the non-Aboriginal group as well, because there's a lot of, you know, the non-Aboriginal people that have stories of their families worked the land in the early days, and they kept diaries, and there's a lot of important information there with tracking family down. You know, maybe they can share those diaries as well. It's like, but we all have our role as human beings and people in this earth, and just need to get on well with each other instead of you know, just worrying about mining and stuff. It's get the people and let the people share the knowledge and history.
And you mentioned the need to listen to the elders. So maybe would you like to see the criminal justice system, whether it's, you know, judges, lawyers, police, being much more proactive about listening to Aboriginal elders and communities about?
Yeah, I think it's time. It's time. They know what's going on. Come down, you know, you're just people like us. I'm sorry, but you know the story, you know the history. Just if nothing happens, then we really need to have a treaty. So we should be talking a bit more with, you know, educating people on the Constitution and stuff that we don't really understand. I mean, I don't even understand it, and I'm not going to be voting yes or no till I know what's going on, and just how the government's going to word it. But I think in the end you're going to have a treaty.
So you're linking up over-incarceration to those wider issues of self-determination, treaty, it's reparation and justice, really, isn't it? How can you have justice for individuals when you don't have justice at a wider level?
I'm at the point in my life personally that I'm going to sort of acknowledge that I'm not going to be, if it continues, if the stress of us trying to have our say, me or myself having my say in the what's happening in politics around here, and especially with my family being incarcerated and the way they're treated when they come out, and will not help when they're in, and I'm going to sort of denounce, is it, my Australian, what's the wording?
So
like citizenship, although you know,
because you feel so excluded from society.
And then I'm getting to the stage where, like, well, your law's not my law, it's not working, try and stop and make it work. And I have tried things in Carnarvon with alternative programs to, you know, before young youth, juveniles are put through the criminal justice system. I've tried family group conferencing, which it was went to a conference in South Australia years ago, and the police officer from Wagga Wagga gave us a video of what they were trialling, and they thought by listening to the Carnarvon experiences that it could work. Took it back there and had a go, but you know, they just want to control it and not give the families any input.
It has to really be community-led.
Yeah, and it could have worked. But then you got your own families who have a different agenda as well, and you know, it's not hard. It is hard when you don't get their support.
No, so communities really need to work together. I just wanted to let you know, Summer May Finlay, who I told you would be watching, she just sent you a message to say fantastic and thank you very much for sharing your story.
Oh, thank you, Summer.
Yeah, I think, you know, sharing stories is very powerful, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So.
And more storytelling. You know, each family's got a story to tell. It's across the board, across around the world, and it's all to do with, you know, sharing story, oral history, and surviving, and helping each other understand each other's different cultures. And it's time for Australia to stop and think instead of well, what's happening now. You know, if you understand what's happening with the Indigenous side of things, and I'm finding out myself. You know, thanks to like yourself, social media, and your what's it called, your account,
Twitter.
Yeah,
we're hoping Rosemary might get onto Twitter. I think
I'm learning.
She would really enjoy it, and there's such a great network of people on Twitter that you can, you know, connect up with. Yeah.
Lovely. And you're always in fear of, so again, history repeating itself with the stolen generation. You're always fearing your kids are going to get taken away. And, you know, family members have already had their children. My niece had her 5 children taken away just recently, and they expected us as the aunties to take on the role. You know, instead of working with her and helping her to keep her house, work with her as a mother, single mother. Instead of taking the kids, taking the house, putting her on the street, it needs to be some sort of, and then you know, DCP wonders why, and Homes West and the government wonder why, and we have this negative view. We should be all working together, and
the governments and service providers often make it more difficult for families rather than really supporting them.
Yeah, because and you got the basic card, and like this young lady was on a basic card at that. Her rent was up. There's a few things, you know, we're all not perfect, but she's a mother of 5, and these kids are going to be traumatised now. You know, and it's where they're putting the children into care. You know, the kids are good at the moment, but the oldest child is in with a family that's probably not going to help him in life. He's going to see the criminal justice system like pretty soon.
So the cycle continues.
Yeah, that's
and the system is perpetuating the cycle.
Yeah.
In a way.
So I think more conferences and more getting together, even with the remote areas. The older ladies that are in the, you know, still living their traditional lifestyle, and people get together and share these things.
What would you like us to do with the series? I mean, what stories would you like us to try and tell, or you know, what do you think is important to get out there?
Well, will you be visiting remote areas?
We'll try to, yeah. But we'll also be trying to find people in remote areas who might be able to do their story for us by phone, like this.
Yeah, well, we'll keep a network of people and share the network.
That'd be great if you could encourage people to engage.
Yeah, there's some really, really interesting people around, and younger leaders as well.
Yeah.
That are really into the social media side of things, which is good.
Yes, and in fact, I don't know if Lenore is watching from Palm Island. She might be busy because they've got their festival there today, but I know they're doing a social media workshop for the youth at Palm to try and, you know, encourage their leadership and development.
Yeah, very important.
It's fantastic, and it helps bring the stories, you know, from the people and the place themselves.
That's right. Yeah.
So. Well, we might wrap up, Rosemary, unless there's anything else that you'd like to add, or do a shout out to everyone who's watching. You're getting some more hearts there.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for those who are watching, and thank you, Melissa, for your experience with doing this. And all the best, and we'll keep in touch and link up because
yes, and we'll try. Everyone who's watching, we'll put a version of this clip. We might need to edit it down a bit for length, but we'll put it up at Croaky in coming days or weeks. So hopefully we can all watch it on replay as well. But thank you very much, Rosemary. It's been really lovely chatting with you, and appreciate you sharing your story, because it's a hard story as well, isn't it? You know, that's the thing. Yeah, and Summer just says thank you, and she sent you a kiss, so there you go.
Thank you, Summer. All the best.
Bye, Summer. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
I haven't signed off yet. I was in trouble getting off.
It's not.
I can't.